Microsoft says this is worth 600 bucks. They also say that this is worth almost 400 bucks. Believe it or not, I'm holding in my hands $1,000 worth of console. What is up, y'all? I'm Ray, and this is my channel, Xbox Ready, where we get on and we talk about Xbox stuff. And boy, do we got some Xbox stuff to talk about. I needed to talk about it immediately. Literally, I woke up to this news. Well, not exactly woke up. I drove my wife to the airport because she's going on a trip with her mom and her sisters. And as I was waiting in LAX, I decided to, check in on what's going on in the world of Xbox, and bam, I got smacked in the face with some pretty shocking news. Now, last week, I made a video that was about how I believed that it was very likely that Xbox was going to raise its prices on its consoles, on its games, much like we're seeing with Nintendo and the Switch 2 and their price increases for first-party stuff like Mario Kart World. I didn't know when it was gonna happen, I didn't know how much it was gonna be, but I felt like based off of certain things that are going on in the world, certain economic policies happening here in the United States. Oh, but it's a global thing, it's a global thing. Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. It's a global thing. Based on the global stuff that's happening, Xbox, we were probably gonna see a price increase. Just like we were seeing price increases from Nintendo and Sony, we were definitely gonna see something similar to Xbox and their consoles and their games. Well, today on May 1st, Xbox hit us with news regarding just that. They're raising the price of Xbox consoles here in the US, and by this holiday season, their first-party games are gonna be 80 bucks. The price increases are taking effect globally and will affect every Xbox product, controllers, consoles. Headsets seem to be exempt for now, except for in the US and in Canada. And again, these price increases are taking effect today. No warning, no nothing. People are just waking up and bam, Series X, it costs 600 bucks now. They say, we understand that these changes are challenging and they were made with careful consideration given market conditions and the rising cost of development. Looking ahead, we continue to focus on offering more ways to play more games across any screen and ensuring value for Xbox players. Let's take a look at some of these new Xbox prices. 380 bucks for a Series S, a base Series S with that 512 gigabytes of storage. 430 for the full terabyte Series S. 550 for the Xbox Series X Digital Edition. 600 for that same console but with a disk drive. And over 730 bucks for the Xbox Series X Galaxy Black 2 terabyte. And their accessories like their controllers and their headset. Looks like they're getting a bump of like 10, 20 bucks as well. Now, I just don't know. I feel like this is pretty much it in terms of console sales for Xbox. This is them kind of throwing in the towel. We've seen every quarter, every financial report that they come out with that hardware sales declining. Year over year, decline. If people weren't buying the Series X or even the S at their past price points, who's gonna buy them now? Who's gonna pay 600 bucks for a Series X? Who's gonna pay almost 400 for a Series S? Don't get me wrong, I love my Series S. That is not a $400 console, I'm sorry. Like I asserted in my video last week, Microsoft Xbox, they are in a unique position to get royally screwed in the event of a price increase. And it also has me very, very worried if Series X is going for 600 bucks now, how much is the next Xbox gonna be? How much is that handheld gonna be? Another price increase to their first-party games. That's pretty tough to swallow as well. I understand that Nintendo's doing it, so other people are gonna follow suit. Yes, the cost of developing these games is on the rise. It's crazy, some of these budgets. So it makes sense that at a certain point, if you're pouring millions and millions and millions into developing these games, distributing them day one on the Game Pass, that you would ask for a little bit more from your customers, sure. It just feels, I don't know. We were with the $60 price tag for a long time, and then we finally got hit with the $10 increase back in like 2021, 2022. Now, just a couple of years later, we're getting hit with another increase, 60 to 70 to 80 bucks in like 4 or 5 years. That's pretty crazy. At least nowadays with the first party projects we're seeing from Xbox, you can argue that that price tag is more justified than it was during that first price increase from 60 to 70 when they came out and they were like, yeah, our first party games, they're gonna be 70 bucks starting with Redfall. Even if Xbox sells less content consoles as a result of this, which I'm 100% sure that's gonna happen. It's not like they're completely down and out. No, they're still breaking records despite selling less consoles. That's according to their latest financial earnings report from this past quarter. Overall gaming revenue, Game Pass subscriptions are on the rise, cloud gaming engagement is up. This sounds insane to me, almost like it's made up. Like, what kind of bizarro timeline are we living in? This thing that Satya Nadella mentioned on the earnings call, saying that Xbox is a top publisher in terms of pre-orders and pre-installs on both the Xbox Store and PlayStation Store. Like, if you're Microsoft, who cares if the sales are declining? Who cares if you gotta raise the price of your consoles when over on PlayStation, they're printing money for you? All of that, again, despite historic lows for Xbox consoles sold. So yeah, they're in a unique position to get screwed on hardware sales specifically. They're also uniquely equipped to handle a potential market where people are like, I don't wanna buy a console because it's a little too expensive. Because they've done the work on growing their presence on PC, on cloud. They've done the work trying to boost up Game Pass. So again, while yeah, this is crazy, I would imagine it would be pretty much business as usual. I was especially interested in the growth of PC Game Pass that we were hearing about from this latest report. Earlier this week, I uploaded a video where I questioned the long-term viability of Game Pass after certain comments that Phil Spencer made, saying that it wasn't for everybody. I was specifically focused on Game Pass Ultimate. That's the one I have. That's the one if you're on console, you're gonna need that if you want to play any of these new day one games. So when I saw that there was a significant growth in PC Game Pass specifically, I thought that was really interesting. Because to be completely honest, I didn't factor that in at all in terms of my thoughts and my argument in that video I was just talking about. Some people pointed it out in the comments. Not like I completely forgot about PC Game Pass. I use PC Game Pass. It's part of my Ultimate subscription. But I did kind of, bear with me on here, bear with me on this, I did kind of forget that PC Game Pass is still $12. I knew that in the back of my head, like when they first changed the Game Pass prices, I covered it and I talked about it, and at the time I remember being like, that PC Game Pass, $12 a month, that sounds like the steal that made me want to sign up for Game Pass in the first place. But as time has gone on, I've just kind of conflated the two, PC Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate, because that's just what I deal with in my day-to-day life. So I had to check again just to remind myself. Right now they're doing the dollar deal, and then afterwards it's $12 a month, a recurring subscription of $12 a month, it says $11.99. And yeah, that totally makes sense why they're seeing that growth on Game Pass, especially at that price point, and especially with what they're providing as of late. All of these first-party games, Avowed, South of Midnight, the Oblivion remaster. The month of April was crazy. They added Still Wakes the Deep. I'm playing through Towerborn right now, Expedition 33. The value is good at $20 a month for me on Game Pass Ultimate. It's crazy at $12 a month. And I'm kicking myself for not factoring that into my video earlier this week because, of course, that's what they've always wanted, to try and lure people over from Steam to the Xbox app. And in doing so, grow their presence on PC, be taken seriously by PC gamers for once. And that growth in PC gamers, PC Game Pass, that's coming at the perfect time in the wake of these price increases for console. Because now, in a world where we're seeing $700 Xbox consoles, it pretty much destroys the whole point of buying a console in the first place. A console was always the cheap, straightforward, easy alternative to PC gaming. But now when you start creeping into that $700 range, it's kind of like, well, if I'm willing to spend that much money, why not spend a little bit more and buy a PC? And if that's you, Xbox can still get you as a customer even though you didn't buy their console. And considering they've reached the limit on how many people will buy an Xbox console versus their competitors, we can also assume that console Game Pass growth, whether it's standard, ultimate, core, that's got a pretty low ceiling as well. And Xbox, you know, they're interested in supporting it, of course, but they're not exactly high on it. It doesn't get them going. Another weird casualty of these unprecedented times that we're living in that I just wanted to mention real quick is 8-Bit Dough. 8-Bit Dough here in the US specifically. Now, if you don't know 8-Bit Dough, they are third-party accessory makers. They make a lot of Xbox stuff, controllers, charging stands, keyboards. They've been a fantastic friend of the channel over the past couple of years. They've partnered up with me for giveaways. nowadays, they send me all sorts of stuff. And usually when people send you stuff when you're a content creator, they want to partner up with you for a sponsorship. They want you to talk a certain way about their product. 8-Bit Dough has never asked me to do anything specific. They just send me their stuff and they're like, hey, we hope you enjoy this. If you want to talk about it, feel free, but no pressure. They're super chill. And over the years, I've amassed a treasure trove of all sorts of their controllers, their stands. I don't have the keyboard. I think I'm gonna pick that up because it's on sale. Overall, I'm a big fan of what they do because their controllers are really nice, but they're affordable. They're budget friendly, which nowadays is more important than ever, which is why I was bummed when they made the announcement that, well, they aren't going to ship to the US anymore because of certain economic policies happening over here. They make most of their product in China, and so what they're gonna do is that they're just gonna sell everything that they have in the US right now, and once that runs out, game over. GG's. That's a huge bummer. I'm gonna reference another video that I put up, the one previous to this, where I was talking about one of the best things about being an Xbox fan are the sheer plethora of options that we have. I was mostly talking about the first party options in terms of console, the affordability, that's out the window now, but also the controller options. That seems to be something they're going to go ahead into next generation with, offering us multiple consoles, multiple controller options, more ways to play as they put it. But we also have a ton of options when it comes to third-party support from PowerA, Turtle Beach, 8-Bit Dough. Xbox is not afraid to give out that license and have these other people make products for them, with the exception of storage cards for some reason. So 8-Bit Dough, once they run out of stock here in the US, that means less options for us. That's not cool. Would have been really cool to have other controller options from other manufacturers, considering the first-party options are getting a price bump. But even though it's too late to buy cheaper Xbox consoles or controllers, because again, those price increases are effective today, I saw that 8-Bit Dough was having a sale on Amazon at least. I highly recommend that you check them out. It's just crazy, man. Like, are my 8-Bit Dough controllers just gonna shoot through the roof in terms of resale value at a certain point? I have so many of them. I have the arcade stick, I have 2 charging stands, one for 2 controllers, one for a single one. I gave away a bunch of them because they were just kind of sitting around in my apartment. Just absolutely crazy times. In the course of this channel, we've had to deal with console shortages, a bunch of delays, and at a time when console prices typically go down, we start seeing cheaper options. They're shooting way up. Despite all the craziness though, I'm glad I have you guys to talk about it with. Thanks so much for joining me talking about Xbox, whether you're commenting, whether you're reaching out to me on Xbox Live, Instagram, other socials. It's been a really fun ride. I'm talking like I'm gonna end the channel or something. I'm not. Because even though we're seeing these crazy price increases on consoles and on controllers and headsets, there's still some really exciting things on the horizon for Xbox, especially with Game Pass, their first-party game output. I was just talking to someone yesterday about how, like, there's just too many games for me to get to. I'm playing Oblivion Remaster. I still haven't even gotten to Expedition 33. I've been looking forward to Towerborn for a while. I'm just starting to play through that. We're finally starting to see like this avalanche of games that we were promised at the beginning of this generation. It's a shame that, well, the conversation's gonna be all about these price increases, but that's not gonna take away from the fact that I have a ton of quality games that I gotta get through on my Xbox and a bunch more on the way. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. Help me on my journey to 200,000 subs. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.